Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is 6 p.m. Wednesday, May the 14th. That means it's time for Wednesdays in the Word. I have the wonderful privilege of being host and pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church, and that makes me Dwayne Hawkins. That's my name, and I am grateful for this opportunity to share midweek Wednesdays in the Word with each and every one of you. So, again, as normal, I want to invite you to let us know that you are here. Check in, share your color. What is your color on today, and how things are going? If it's going well, if you've got anything to share, anything we can celebrate. I want to take an opportunity to share life and check in and offer some care for one another. If things are going well, if things are not going well, whatever it is that's going on, bring it to the table, and we will take a moment to acknowledge that for each and every one of you. And so I am grateful to be here today. Let's see who we've got in. Miss Alma, good evening to you. Oh, look at that. Happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you so very much. Today is my birthday, 57 years or 57 laps around the sun. I am so grateful. Today I celebrate 57 years of life, and so many people have reached out, received phone calls, text messages, uh, social media, Facebook, just all over the place. I am just so grateful for each and every person who took the time out of their day to wish me a happy birthday. Thank you all so very much. I very much appreciate it. You didn't have to do it, but you did. And for those of you did, I just want to tell you how grateful I am that you took the time to acknowledge me on my birthday on today. Good evening. Good evening. Come on in, Lakana. Another birthday wish. Happy birthday, pass from Mother and I. Uh, and I may this be the best one yet. God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let's see. Green and ready to go. Awesome. Awesome. Both green and ready to enjoy your birthday. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We do have a praise report. We get to celebrate the mayoral election on last night. What a great blessing that was to experience uh, our new mayor elect, John Ewing, who won the mayoral election. Such a great thing, and excited for him, excited for our city. John and I were both members of Morning Star many, many years ago, as well as his wife Viv. And so I've known them for many decades, and I am just excited and celebrate with them and for all those who helped to make that a reality. And we definitely want to add that to the list of things to celebrate. Omaha on the map. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? On Johnny, good evening to you, Green, and happy birthday to me. Thank you so much, Aunt Johnny. I so appreciate it. You are just so faithful in sharing with us at Antioch. We are so grateful for you and for your faithfulness, and just being who you are has definitely been a blessing to us. Again, you guys opportunity. I want to encourage you to invite someone to join in with us on this evening. This is online, so that means we'll never have to worry about running out of space. This is the cyber sanctuary, so there's always room for one more. So, for the rest of you who are on, I want to encourage you to let us know that you are here. Tell us what your color is. Oh, I guess I never checked in. I am mostly green, mostly green. I went I had an appointment with my herbalist the other day and got me on some different stuff. So hopefully, I found out that it wasn't a cold that I've been struggling with this whole time. It's most likely related to allergies, and maybe not so much as a cold as I originally thought. Well, which I guess kind of makes sense. So I've got some allergy herbs, and so I still got a touch of blue in me, but I am hopefully on the right road to recovery after all of this time. What's happening? What's happening? Statia's here, y'all. Stacia is here. Everybody, stop what you're doing. Stacia is here. What's happening, girl? You are green. Glad that you are with us on today. It just wouldn't feel right to have Wednesdays in a word without you. And so I am grateful. We got some time. Invite someone, share in with us. Just maybe a couple of announcements, and then we will get rolling with our lesson on this evening. Anything else going on that we can acknowledge? Anything else? Any prayer requests? Any um, accomplishments or anything we can celebrate, that we can share life and just kind of briefly check in with one another before we get started with our lesson on today? Feel free to type that into the chat so that we can acknowledge that. Looking forward to that. So let's see a couple of announcements on this evening. I guess I would like to announce that our New Era Congress of Christian Education is approaching the first week in June, and classes will be at the St. Mark Baptist Church. And I want to encourage, we will not meet that Wednesday because we will be in Congress. We will be in class with our state convention. And so I want to encourage each and every one of you to register for a class. Classes of all ages. We've got our children's rally at King Solomon, the youth rally at King Solomon, and the adult classes are at St. Mark, Monday through Thursday. On Sunday night is our dean's address. And so we'll be looking forward to that. And then classes are Monday through Thursday. I want to say 6:30 to 8:30. And then on Thursday evening, classes will be a little bit shorter, 6:30 to 7:30. And then we will convene at 7:30 so that we can hear from our Congress President, Dr. Allen of the Zion Baptist Church, who will be giving his address. And then on Friday will be the children's rally and the youth rally. And so we are looking forward to that first week in June. And then the third week in June is our National Congress of Christian Education. And that will be in the wonderful city of Montgomery, Alabama. If you're not planning on taking the trip to Montgomery, there are online classes that are available during the evening time. You can go to nationalbaptist.com and see the classes. Let me know, and I would be happy to register anyone from Antioch so that we can all register at the same time. So we've got our state Congress first week in June, and then our national Congress the third week in June. Those are your Those are your announcements. Good evening, Karen. How are you on this evening? Green today. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And my new knee is working well. Awesome. Yes, that is great news. Thank you for sharing. New knee is working well. Grateful. I'm sure I would imagine you're still doing some therapy and getting everything all strong and all that good stuff. And we are excited that is going well. What a blessing. You've had some painful times at therapy, but it looks like things are headed in a positive direction. So we are grateful for that and for everything else that's going on in everyone's life. Thank you all just for being who you are and for your presence. And let's see if we can prepare ourselves. Let's see. Well, we got another thing to share. Started with a personal trainer today. Yay! Awesome, awesome. Great, 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 great. Stacia, I am so excited for you. Let us know how that is going. And we are definitely cheering you on as you address matters of personal health. What a blessing. What an example that you are setting for the rest of us. So wonderful. That is great news. Let me know. Let me know how that's going. And what I really want to know is one, is your personal trainer mean or nice? That's the first thing. And is your personal trainer a male or a female? Uh, uh, yeah. And that's just the protective pastor in me coming out. But mainly, just let us know if the person is mean or nice, because ain't nobody got time for no mean personal trainers. But I suppose if they're just all fluffy nice, then they may not be a good trainer. So, anyways, keep us posted on how it's going, or how your journey is going. Uh, all right, y'all. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, let's hit it. Everything that you need is in the word. What a great reminder. I just so much appreciate our theme song. Encourages us in our values, believing, being, belonging, and becoming, and just encouraging us that God has not left us to figure things out on our own. Everything that we need can be found in the Word of God. And I just want to encourage you to fall in love, not just with the Bible, but more importantly, with the God of the Bible. He loved us enough to give us his word, and I'm so grateful. First Lady's with us, and she is green. And before we get started, as always, give us a good Baptist greeting, First Lady.
Good evening, good evening, good evening to all of you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. I am happy to be here tonight.
Awesome, awesome. Those she's getting good at those Baptist greetings, isn't she, y'all? She's getting good at Baptist greeting. One of these days, she's gonna say, uh, "Giving honor to God, who
Who's
is
the
the
head of
head
my
of my
life?
life." Uh, Pastor, deacon, and friends, we bring you greetings from the Antioch Baptist Church, where my pastor is, the
Lord
Reverend
have mercy.
Dwayne Hawkins. Uh, y'all pray for me, and I'll pray for you. Yeah, that is one of these days she's gonna get ultra Baptist and do something like that. And okay, we got an answer about the personal trainer. He is really nice. All right, all right. Everyone speaks highly of him. I can tell he's going to get me into shape in no time. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am so excited. Uh, but if he steps out of line, then you let him know it's going to be consequences and repercussions because we will roll up in there deep if we have to. Uh, yeah, we will roll up in there deep if we have to. Uh, I can't fight, but I know people who can. And some of them South Omaha Antioch folk, yeah, yeah, they'll get you. They will get you. So yes, thanks for sharing that. So, sorry about that. We had a bump. What was I talking about? I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about First Lady's Baptist greeting. One of these days, she gonna do that, and she gonna do it right off of the Baptist script, the Baptist greeting script. There is one. It's just not hard copy. It's oral tradition. But thank you, First Lady, for giving us a good old Baptist greeting. We always appreciate hearing from our First Lady. So, I had an experience that is not necessarily connected to our lesson tonight, but I thought I would share it with you all by way of encouragement. And it has to do with my retreat that I took a couple weeks ago. So, twice a year, I steal away for the weekend by myself and I go to this retreat center called St. Benedict in Schuyler, Nebraska. It's about an hour drive from Northwest Omaha. And there's usually three things that are on my agenda. Number one is, and the retreat center is, I mean, this is not vacation time. This is not a hotel. This is a retreat center. And so that means there are no televisions anywhere to be found. And um, it's a beautiful facility, uh, very always clean. They feed you. You can pay for your meals. It's not that expensive. The monks are right across the street, and sometimes they'll come over and greet you during the mealtime, or you could go over there and pray with the monks if you wanted to. And there's a nice pond. It's just a beautiful facility, but it is not a hotel and it's not luxurious. It's about spending time with the Lord, and people do groups there. There's always people in some of the conference rooms, and them quilters be up in there almost every time I go. It's a group of quilters, and they be up in there quilting and that kind of stuff. And then some people just do an individual retreat, like I do. And as of late, I have incorporated silence into my retreat. And so unless I have to go into town for something, if I want to go to church, if I want to go in town and do whatever, I'll have to talk when I go into town. But when I'm at the retreat center, I'm silent. I practice silence. So it is for me a Saturday afternoon until Monday morning experience, and that usually works well for me. So 3 days, 2 nights is good enough time to rest and good enough time to do what I need to do. So three things on my agenda: I rest, I spend time with the Lord, and sometimes I'll do some planning, some advanced planning, not everyday planning, but looking far down the road kind of planning. And someone asked me, what does communion? What does that look like? And I thought that was a pretty insightful question. Sometimes it is um, processing things that are going on in my life that are not a part of my day to day experience, but they are just, I don't know, unresolved loops in my mind or in my soul. So it could be that, it could be praying, it could be sometimes I'll spend extended time reading the scriptures, but they have these physical things at the retreat center, and I thought I would tell you about one of them. One of them is called a labyrinth. And a labyrinth is an outside experience, and it's a circle, and the best way to describe it is that it looks like a maze, and you walk in on the outside and you just kind of follow the pattern and work your way to the center of the labyrinth. But it is not a maze. It's very different than a maze. And a maze you can actually get lost in, but a labyrinth you cannot get lost because there's only one path, and you just follow the path, and eventually you make it to the center of the labyrinth. And then when you make it to the center, sometimes there'll be a bench or something that you can sit down and spend time there. And then you go back out the same way you came in. And there's all this, it looks like a maze, but it's not a maze because there's only one path. It's not like you have to backtrack because you made the wrong move. Um, so I read the directions and I've done a labyrinth 2 or 3 times in life before, so I was familiar with the experience. And so it's kind of like a journey, like you're leaving the outer world and you're making your way to the center where you experience the presence of God. And so as I was making my way through the labyrinth, I just found myself acknowledging all the stuff that was attached to my day to day experience. All of my thoughts, all of my feelings, just all the stuff, y'all. The stuff of pastoring, the stuff of life, the stuff of me dealing with these lingering allergies for over a month and a half. I've just found myself as I was making my way to the center just releasing all of the stuff, and I finally made it to the center. So it was just like a prayer. It was just like this acknowledging everything that's going on. I've been thinking about this, where I feel this, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm mad at this, and I'm this about that, and I'm this about the other, and I'm just like acknowledging all of these things, and then I finally make it to the center of the labyrinth, and I just kind of sat there, and the birds were chirping, and you could hear the sound of the wind blowing through the trees, and it was just peaceful at the center, and it was just me in the presence of God. And so I sat there for a little while, and when I felt it was time to leave, I was thinking about the instructions about, you know, what you take back with you from being in the presence of God at the center of the labyrinth. And then you take that back with you into the world. And that's kind of the concept. You release things as you're journeying with God to get to the center, and you experience whatever you experience with God at the center. And then you take that back as you re-enter in out of the labyrinth and into the world. So that's kind of the concept. And so, man, I just was releasing everything, all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the experiences, all the stuff. Um, and so it was just really peaceful at the center, just experiencing this peace. Um, and I wasn't thinking about all the stuff. Because I had acknowledged it all in prayer, working my way to the middle of the labyrinth. And so, right when I was getting ready to leave and go back through the labyrinth on the way out, follow the same path, I had this thought that all of the stuff that I released had attached itself to me. But when I was in the center of the labyrinth, that stuff wasn't there. It was just me experiencing the peace that comes with being in the presence of God. And then I had this thought, the things that were attached to me were not me. And that was like a big deal. That was like a big moment in my communion with God, that all of the stuff, it was attaching itself to me, but it wasn't me. It was the experiences, it was the thoughts, it was the feelings, that some of it was just like a weight, and it was just in that moment that I was just thinking about the fact that those things are really not me. Those things are attached themselves to me. And so what do I bring back, making my way out of this labyrinth from the center of the labyrinth? And it was just this reality of being in the present with God, and not about all of the stuff that had attached itself to me. And so as I was walking through the journey from the center back out of the labyrinth, I was just thinking about, what is it that I bring back from my time with the Lord that um I bring back into the world. And it was just about my authentic self, being in the presence of God. And then I began to think about, what does that look like, and the whole of the experience was just a blessing to me, and I was able to release a lot of the stuff, and be with God, and then be able to re-enter back into the world, not with so much of the stuff, but with more of a sense of what it means to be present without all of the stuff. And so that was my experience in the labyrinth. And it was just an amazing experience. And so I just thought I would share. I didn't know when or where, so I just thought maybe with tonight I'll just take a few moments and share my journey with the labyrinth. Anyone else ever experienced a labyrinth, or any thoughts or questions about my labyrinth experience? All right. So if you're ever in a place where there's a labyrinth, now you kind of know what it looks like and what it's about, and how it can be a wonderful spiritual experience, because for me it was a wonderful experience. Okay, so excuse me, this past Sunday we started a new sermon series, Becoming People of Passion. And for me, just coming off of this series of 7 commitments, spiritual growth, I just really felt led to loop back to the matters of our heart, because they are so foundational to our outward commitments. Thank you, Alma. Alma says, thanks for sharing. Yeah, it was a great experience. Thank you for listening. And so, addressing matters of the heart are so foundational to everything we do in the Christian life. And these outer commitments really proceed from the inward condition of our hearts. And so I thought that that would be provide some good balance. And so that's kind of where preaching on passion really kind of came into play. And very much in similar fashion to commitment number one, which is fully surrendered to God. Very similar in that regard. First Lady said, I don't remember seeing that last time I was there. I did enjoy the prayer prompts. No, the labyrinth was not there when you were there at the retreat center. That is a new addition in the past 2 or 3 years that as I recall. Um, so yeah, I thought about all these areas of passion, and I just felt compelled that the first area of passion in the Christian life is our passion for God. And so that's kind of where the series came from. That's kind of where the sermon originated, and really wanting to encourage us to take an inward look at our excitement for God. And so the passage was Psalm 42. That was the passage. I looked at several different passages, but that was the one that really spoke to me. Um, as a deer, let me get my Bible in front of me. As a deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all the day long, where is your God? These things I remember as I pour out my soul, how I would go with the throng and lead them in procession to the house of God with glad shouts and songs of praise, a multitude keeping festival. Why are you cast down, O my soul? Why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God. Um, so the thesis, spiritual renewal begins by recognizing the thirst of the soul, confronting both internal and external struggles, choosing to place hope in God regardless of present circumstances. So the issue was that I was trying to address was establishing the fact that sometimes the things of this life can strip us of our passion for God. And just the everyday realities of this world, if you're not careful, they can begin to wear on you. And even your service for the Lord can also have that same impact to kind of wear on you. And next thing you know, you could just be doing, and then there's no passion. And acknowledging that that can happen to any one of us at any point in time, the question is, how do we renew that passion? And so that is really what the sermon was about, addressing, acknowledging those realities that can happen to any one of us, and then what do we do? How do we renew? How do we rekindle the flame for God? And I guess my initial thought is, have you ever experienced a lack of passion for God? Have you ever experienced it? Whether it was while you were engaging in godly service or not. Have you ever experienced what it's like to lose your passion for the Lord? And if so, hopefully you can appreciate the perspective of Psalm 42 because it's written from that perspective. So as we look at the outline of the sermon, it was really a simple outline. There was an inward recognition that the psalmist's soul was thirsty. And that is an interesting thing because, as I stated in the sermon, that requires some spiritual discernment. Because without it, you might think, or you may not know what's wrong, or you may think that what's wrong is something other than your soul. But to be able to come to the conclusion that there was a sense of dissatisfaction in the soul, I really believe takes some degree of spiritual maturity to acknowledge, man, my soul is not satisfied. And that, um, to be able to recognize that and acknowledge that really is the first step to renewal, is to acknowledge that there is a need for renewal, that something is not right, that this is not the way, there's something that's missing, there's some dissatisfaction, and to be able to say, well, it's not this situation, it's not that situation, it is really going on internally. There is an inward recognition of a thirsty soul. And he compares it to a deer panting for flowing streams, like out of desperation that there is a need for water and water is not present. And he says, well, that's what my soul feels like it needs to be quenched, and it's not being quenched, and the soul is longing for satisfaction. And I just want to pause there for a moment and just allow you the opportunity just to reflect for a second about recognizing the thirst of the soul. Um, and maybe ask, are you that attuned to your soul, the immaterial part of you, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, to know that those things are meant to be satisfied by God, and to give enough attention to your soul to realize when it's not being satisfied and it's not other stuff, it's stuff on the inside. So I guess what I'm asking is, how self-aware are you about your soul? Like, do you care for your soul enough to be able to recognize when it's thirsty for God? And I want to pause there and give you opportunity to comment on that. Do you tend to your soul well enough to know what it feels like for it to be satisfied by God, and to know what it's like when it's not satisfied, and know that it's a soul issue and not a circumstance issue? Are you that attuned and self aware of your soul?
I think I will say that I am definitely not always in tune with my soul. But I do recall a time that comes to my mind when I felt like I was doing all the things, going to church and reading the Bible and praying and, all the things I thought I should have been doing. And yet somehow I still felt um, distant, I guess maybe would be the word that I'm looking for. And so I have felt that before, but I don't know outside of that feeling if I'm always nurturing that connection in my soul, if I'm always fully aware or even thinking about that on a regular basis.
Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Um, you were doing all the things, but what was the way that you phrased it?
I still felt distant or disconnected.
From God, or did you know
Yes.
what the disconnect, or were you not able to know what the disconnect was?
I think I realized that something was wrong at some point, and then when I really sat in it for a while, I think that's when it really occurred to me what it was.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing, because I think that perhaps is quite common. Let's look at another thought. Elakana says, I thought I did, but now I'm not so sure. Um, Tell us more about that, Lakana. Johnny says, is that like you empty and don't know why, just empty? It very well could be. It very well could be. I think that, thank you for sharing, Johnny. And then Lakana says, good job, First Lady. Good job, First Lady. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and for that encouragement. I think for some people, they may know that something's not right or something's missing, but they may not attribute that to the soul. If in fact the nurture of the soul is not an intentional reality in their lives. And so I didn't share this in the sermon, but this may be a good opportunity to spend a moment talking about what does it look like to nurture your soul, and what is it like when your soul is satisfied, so that you would know. I think if you nurture your soul and you know what that looks like and you know what it feels like to have your soul satisfied, it'll be a lot easier for you to realize, oh yeah, something's not something's not right, and I know what it is. This is about the connection between my soul and God. And so what does nurturing the soul look like? The psalmist didn't say that. Lakana says inner feelings not feeling right. That is a common external, like you go to the doctor and they take your pulse and your blood pressure and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to your soul, it's not like there's numbers on a chart, right? Like your pulse is this, and your heart rate is this, and your respiratory rate is this, and your lungs are clear, and you weigh this much. Um, and they're really specific and external. But when it comes to the matters of the soul, we have to learn how to take our pulse, and it's internal. Um, Inner feelings not feeling right. And I think that nurturing your soul looks like several things. It looks like reading your Bible. It looks like praying. It looks like processing your feelings through your relationship with God. It looks like fasting. It looks like sharing your faith. It looks like confessing your sins. It looks like Bible study. It looks like a discipleship group. It looks like corporate worship. It looks like sharing your faith with others. It looks like care for and disciple others. These are all external things, and they sound awful lot like the 7 commitments, don't they? They sure do. Um, First Lady said, I'm seeing a pattern here. Uh, yeah, those are external things. They're behaviors that we engage in, but they're connected to our soul because they strengthen our inward connection to God. And a satisfied soul is often at rest, even when circumstances are not. A satisfied soul is less anxious. A satisfied soul is more at peace and not in unrest. A satisfied soul is aware of the presence of God in their life. Um, a satisfied soul experiences internal peace. Johnny says, look like you want to hide, but no place to go. Yeah, that could be an indicator of a thirsty soul. It could be. And so when we engage in the disciplines, when we engage in the commitments, those things are designed to nurture our connection with God, to nurture our soul. And oftentimes they result in peace, in acceptance, in knowing the presence of God is with you, in lower levels of anxiety and lower levels of stress. And um, those are things, uh, closeness with God. Those are indicators of a satisfied soul. And when he says, "My soul pants for you," there is that rest, that closeness, that inner peace, regardless of outward circumstances. That those things are interrupted, and there is restlessness, there is distance, there could be an increase of anxiety or stress, there can be an over focus on external realities, and all of those things are external, but they could result from a thirsty soul. And I'm making sense. It's not as much as an exact science as taking your pulse and your blood pressure, because they're matters of the heart, but they operate in similar fashion. And so now that you know what it looks like to nurture your soul, and you know what a satisfied soul experiences, now we can come back and say, well, if that's the case, then at this point, and this point in my life, I could have had a soul that was thirsty for God, and I just thought it was the circumstance that I was in. Well, the circumstance may have been the thing that revealed the inner unrestlessness. And then sometimes we focus on the circumstance, but we don't focus on the soul. And we just address all of our stuff toward the external things of life, and not acknowledge the connection with God, so that we can experience, the words of the song, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll. Whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. And that doesn't happen without nurturing the soul. Uh, so oftentimes, the question is, are you nurturing your soul, or are you just doing the external stuff? Hence, my time at my retreat center, that was nurturing my soul. The other thing that I did in my retreat that nurtured my soul, I slept. I gave my soul, connected to my body, an opportunity to just rest. I mean, I literally slept half of my retreat. At one point in time, I was in the bed in the dark from about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday till about 7:15 on Sunday morning. And that was nurturing my soul, because it just needed a break. Um, and my body and my soul, they're connected, because I'm a human being. I'm an integrated person. And so, are you sleeping? You're getting enough sleep. The first lady was talking to me the other day about walking 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, sleeping 7 hours a night. That's not, that's physical stuff, but we're integrated. Uh, I would argue that it's also soul work. So this whole matter, I guess there was a reason why I talked about my retreat, because it's connected to nurturing our soul. And so there's got to be this inward recognition, but then there was also these outward things that were going on. He talked about his pain and his circumstances. And Lakana says, sleep is your superpower. Yeah. 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 I was in bed for nearly 12 hours straight. And then I got up, went to breakfast, came back, got into bed for another 3 hours, went to lunch, got back into bed for another 3 hours. And only then, after 18 hours in the bed, that I feel rested enough to actually go and do some advanced prep. And by that time, it was Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and I got there Saturday afternoon around 4. Oh, and I slept an hour before I went to lunch. So that was 19 hours in a little over 24 hours that I literally spent in the bed, um, allowing my body and my soul and my mind to rest. Combined with the fact that I was silent, well, half the time I was asleep, but even when I was awake and people were, "Hey, what's your name?" And I point to my mouth, and that's the clue. Oh, he must be on a silent retreat. And to not talk also nurtures my soul, because my mind and my soul and my body, they just needed time to rest from all the stuff. Um, so yeah, I, I, I guess I didn't see the connection until we started talking about that. And so then there were these outward realities, and ultimately, there was this hope in the text, and he's talking to himself. His soul is thirsty. People are mocking him. He's got this pain that's causing him to cry day and night. And he just remembers the good old days, but they're not his present days. And he says to his soul, "Why are you downcast? Hope in God." And nurturing your soul can lead to hope. Or maybe that's what contributes to making the decision to hope in God. And he says, "Then I'll praise him again, my salvation and my God." So this was kind of a roundabout way to talk about the sermon today and introduce other things that we didn't talk about. So if you felt that disconnect and you didn't know what it was, or you knew it was outward circumstances, but you never made the connection to the restlessness on the inside that comes from the outside, now is just a good time to acknowledge that yes, life be lifing, and sometimes when it rains it pours, and sometimes life is hard. But what is going on internally when life is hard and when life is not hard? Are you at rest, or is there unrest? Is there anxiety or is there peace? Are you experiencing the closeness of the presence of God or is there distance? And those are the things that can be indicators of the soul. And so I just want to encourage us to just kind of reflect on that with a greater ability to do a soul diagnostic and not just a, well, I got this going on or I got that going on. Because addressing the matters of the soul are of the utmost importance in our lives. And then receiving God's forgiveness, receiving the truth of his word, hoping God, um, my salvation and my God. In the sermon I said we can praise him again because he will and he is. He will deliver us. He is the source of our strength. And those are the truths that we can apply that are the objective part of hope. And so I guess my question today is, as we think about what we can take away from a deeper dive at the sermon, is not just being aware of a thirsty soul, but the connection between the disciplines and commitments of life and the soul. And ask yourself, how well are you nurturing your soul? And how self-aware are with the connection of your soul and your relationship to God. And so yeah, any thoughts about that? This was a kind of a roundabout way. We didn't follow the outline as much, um, but I think hopefully what we discussed tonight made sense. Any thoughts about what we can take away from this discussion about the sermon in terms of what a satisfied soul looks like and how to nurture it, and then how to recognize when it's not there?
Well, I have to say thank you for giving us some examples of how to nurture our soul. Because I guess, yeah, that's part of it is knowing how to nurture it first and foremost. And as I was thinking, gosh, this would be definitely something to add in. I don't know if that would be part of the quarterly or yearly reflection time to really begin to think about, okay, not only how am I feeling, but what condition is my soul in at this moment, to put that on my mind during those reflection times to really begin to assess where I'm at, so that I am aware of whether I'm currently not feeling passionate or not.
Yeah, I think that's a good takeaway. Thank you for sharing. Um, do I feel closeness to God or do I feel distance? Am I experiencing peace or anxiety? Um, and am I more focused on the external realities of life or my connection with God? I mean, I think those are the types of soul diagnostic questions that we can reflect upon, um, and take a deeper dive than just, you know, my health this, my finances that, my relationship that, as real as those things are, the soul is just as real. Let's see, we got another comment here. Clarifying what you are feeling and confessing to God in my reflections. Yes, yes. Um, that's very helpful. And again, th- there is a role that we play. Those external actions in those 7 commitments are that's how we nurture our soul. I nurtured my soul by planning a spiritual retreat twice a year. I nurtured my soul when I slept 19 hours in a day and kept my mouth shut and had the experience of the labyrinth, which was an incredible prayer moment and time with those were all soul nurturing activities. And I guess the other thing that I want to encourage you to consider is that nurturing the soul is just as important, if not more, than how you respond to the external circumstances of life. Because if you are driving in your vehicle and you do not pull over and give it the necessary fuel your car needs to run, you'll go far, but sooner or later you will run out of gas and your vehicle will not operate. As opposed to caring for your vehicle, getting the oil change, putting gasoline on it on a regular basis, you function better. And sometimes the externals get more attention in our life than the internals. And then we can end up with a thirsty soul and not even know it. And we can try to fix it by addressing external stuff and we'll never get to the heart of the matter. So God wants us to have satisfied souls. So let's nurture our soul. Let's realize its importance. And let's make the connection between our commitments and how they nurture our soul and strengthen our connection to God. Um, so that when the storms of life come on the outside, we can still be at rest with God on the inside. Yeah. Make sense? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, I love all of you so very much. And thank you for allowing us to have this time to take a deeper dive into the sermon and talk about things that we didn't get a chance to talk about on Sunday. And I'm praying for each and every one of you. I'm praying for your soul. Um, Part of my job as pastor is to watch over your soul. And part of that means to equip you to learn how to care for it. And so hopefully you will assume responsibility as the primary caretaker of your soul. Just like Stacia got that personal trainer, but the trainer can't do the work, the trainer can guide her. As a soul caretaker, uh, I'm kind of like your spiritual personal trainer uh, to guide you on the journey, but I can't care for your soul in place of you. So I am praying with you as you learn to care for your soul, as you pay attention to your soul and know what it looks like when it's satisfied, when it's not, and understand how we can nurture our soul and how we can renew our passion when it is distant um, by um, following what we see in the text. So, hope in God, our salvation in God. All right, good people. Um, may the peace of God be unto you, and let's go change the world.